Hello, welcome back to the finals of the Legacy Mediocre League. I'm here with Brett Jane, and it's going to be Julian versus Caleb.
Mm. My camera's a little bit awkward.
So the first matchup in this best of five will be Miracles for Julian versus John from Caleb. Already some interesting mind games going on. Julian probably picking just the best deck in general for game one, and Caleb maybe expecting that, bringing in the John deck, which should have an okay game in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm not sure how good the matchup actually is for
No,
John.
but John players always like to tell me that they beat Miracles, but that's the dream versus maybe the reality. I mean, we'll see.
It definitely seems like they should have a reasonable matchup with the abrupt decays and whatnot, but Miracles can definitely grind pretty dang well.
Yeah, it turns out the game is a little bit bigger than just counterbalance. So
Yeah.
after blowing it up, you still have a game to win. And one of these players has Brainstorm in their deck, and the other one does not. So
Mm. So his hands, Julian's definitely seems pretty solid, and I don't think you mulligan Caleb's hand, even though it's not that great for the matchup, it doesn't seem. Like, Liliana's good, but it doesn't really do, like, his hand doesn't do anything especially quickly.
yeah, I think he keeps because also there's a chance that Julian has elves and he has Punishing Fire Grove, although it's a little slow, but that's probably one of his best shots in game one of actually like beating an elves deck.
Winning that matchup, yeah.
I assume they don't know what they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
So Julian might be afraid of. Actually, he already sees the wasteland now. He thought I was going to say he might be afraid of Tin Fins, but that jig is up right now.
Mm-hmm.
So do you brainstorm here? I think you just wait and let it happen.
Yeah, he has like enough lands and stuff. He's not really looking for anything particular, right? I guess if he finds like a top, that'd be pretty nice.
Yeah.
But he might want to like wait for the brainstorm to be able to set up the terminus because he doesn't actually know the matchup.
No, but he knows he's playing
So
against a fair deck,
yeah.
so he probably doesn't have to like dig for counter magic immediately.
Mm-hmm. So Thoughtsy's probably going to get fired off here. Now do you brainstorm and hide the counterbalance? Try to get it down for the next turn. That seems pretty reasonable.
It seems I'm a bit behind on the screen. Okay, yeah, we see the brainstorm. So I mean, counterbalance. You can expect abrupt decay, so counterbalance is not that important, but it's probably still worth hiding because the rest of your hand is not
Yeah, he's
great.
just not really doing anything otherwise.
So you put back like Terminus counterbalance.
The Snapcaster seems pretty important. The Terminus
Yeah,
doesn't really do anything at this point because he's going to draw it in a couple turns. It's not going to really hit anything, right?
I guess. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense. Hold on to the Ponders since they're redundant. What do you actually take there? Oh, he took the Ponder. Okay. Just counterbalance jams that. Seems reasonable. Bloodbraid, not a bad one against Miracles. Nice threat.
No,
Doesn't
I
really
mean,
counterbalance very effectively.
especially if you can hit an abrupt decay at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Blind counterbalance flip hits it too, but I guess that makes sense that he would set it up to make that happen. See if he ponders here or not. I guess I could see running out Snapcaster and pondering as well.
Yeah, although saving the brainstorm to use with the counterbalance
Yeah,
is
that makes
going to
sense.
be really nice. All right, so we see Liliana being cast, and now I guess Julian is going to try to find a 3 drop.
That's interesting. He doesn't really have very many threes, right?
No, presumably he has. I think he has Entreat, and that's pretty much it. I haven't looked in detail at his deck list. Also, now he lets Caleb know that he has Snapcaster, so Caleb might just edict at this point.
Yeah, I assume that's what he would do, but I would think that Julian would want to have the Snapcaster able to attack the Liliana.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I could see like playing the Snapcaster in response to the Liliana plus to at least get it to 2, and then he has to minus it the following turn to actually kill it.
Yeah. All right, so we're being told he has 2 mentors, so he had 3 things he could hit, and also maybe he wanted to force a will if he could find that.
That's possible.
I mean, Liliana is one of the best cards that Caleb will have.
Yeah. But it seems like Snapcaster like threatens it pretty effectively, and it's just going to kind of throw it away here.
Yeah.
But Julian's about to have Sensei's top counterbalance online pretty shortly, though it's not going to line up especially well against those blood braids.
No, that's definitely risky.
So I assume it's just like Terminus random card that he puts back here. Kind of surprised that he's thinking about it. Maybe he's trying to bluff the force or something.
He also has to think, like, what if Caleb pluses what he wants to discard?
Yeah, very true. But I assume you just discard the second Terminus.
Yeah, kind of have to. And it's Liliana is going to be a little bit problematic for Julian, actually.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Does Julian have entreats? That's one way he could, like...
He has 1, I think.
Yeah, just the 1. Yeah.
And then, like, even drawing a Jace here would have been fantastic. Although, there is the Bloodbraid Elf waiting. Yeah, it's got 1 Entreat, 2 Monastery Mentors, and 1 Council's Judgment.
Yeah, not really a ton of answers to Liliana, and the second Liliana is going to be pretty good as well.
Yeah,
well,
for sure.
We just jumped ahead or something? I guess Bloodbraid's being cast.
Yeah, I think there's some problems with the screen share. I suddenly saw 3 Terminuses in Julian's hand as well. I don't know how that happened.
Who knows?
So I assume we had an edict on the Snapcaster, and now we have Bloodbraid Elf.
Liliana plus.
Into... Okay, the Cascade is still on the stack.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no 4 on top, which we knew. Oh, that's actually not very good.
Yeah, not that relevant.
And it's might even get countered, yeah. There's a source of plowshares. Yeah.
And the Snapcaster's nice as well. Be able to threaten really good. A little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, Snapcaster's actually a pretty good way to like keep up with Bloodbraid Elf.
Mm-hmm.
You can like flash it in to block the elf and then flash back like a brainstorm. Then technically you're not losing on cards.
Yeah, try to keep up a little bit.
Yeah, but like realistically, he's just trying to survive until he can either mentor or entreat.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Julian draws the swords, doesn't top during his upkeep or anything. Interested to see what Caleb does with his Liliana here. His hands, like, all his cards are pretty good.
Yeah. I guess you can lose the Bob.
Yeah, he could also just do nothing. But
he could actually return his Punishing Fire and then discard that.
Very true. And then play the Dark Confidant.
Yeah. But I think you just play Bloodbraid and just ditch the Bob. He doesn't know about the second Snapcaster, but that would be a reason to plus the Liliana.
Yeah, he's not aware of
that. He does it.
Assume Julian discards the second counterbalance, maybe the Terminus, but I assume the Terminus will actually be relevant.
Yeah, it might actually. Like, is there still a Brainstorm in his graveyard? I guess not, right?
No. He has 2 Ponders in the graveyard, I think. So
Yeah.
nothing especially relevant with the Snapcaster this turn.
Right, so yeah, it doesn't have a good way to set up the Terminus.
Mm-hmm.
I assume he's just going to take this. Oh no, he kills it. Okay.
And Caleb did pitch the Confidant to the Liliana,
Yeah, and he didn't play the Bloodbraid Elf before attacking. So
presumably out of fear of Terminus.
yeah. So then he just waits. Okay, yeah, he makes Julian deal with the Liliana first.
That makes
Now
sense.
he
There's no
has,
reason to overextend there.
yeah, he actually has Punishing Fire up now, so Julian
Yeah.
can't really go for the mage.
Mm-hmm.
He'll just get torched. Unless he has a 2 on top.
What's the top show him? Snapcaster top and a Tundra.
It's not particularly helpful.
No. I would guess he just draws the Snapcaster, ponders, and shuffles, most likely.
Yeah.
Just get a fresh top.
He has to, like the ball is in his court. He has to do something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Caleb's definitely ahead at this point. He's got the much better board and hand. Not that Julian necessarily knows his hand. I'm just going to hold on to the Snapcaster and try to
Okay, interesting.
something, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, this counterbalance, like he can wait 1 turn and just discard the counterbalance. That's fine.
Yeah, he's not too far behind, I guess, but the Jund deck
Second
definitely
Punishing Fire.
keeps stacking the card advantage.
So now I think you just play Bloodbraid Elf.
See what happens with the Lily first. I assume it's counterbalance and Punishing Fire getting pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see no reason why he wouldn't play the Bloodbraid here.
It would be
It's not
like
too bad for
super conservative if
Yeah.
you don't play it here.
with like not that much upside, because the only thing different, or the only thing that he's doing other than playing the Bloodbraid is just like picking up the Punishing Fire again.
Yeah. Yeah, and
not
even
special.
in a treat for 2, well, I guess Bloodbraid is not particularly great against that either, but and
Wow,
treat
totally
is always a threat. Oh, he's playing it really patiently here. Interesting.
Yeah. All right, so he just finds another top on top, so it's now top Tundra. Draws a land, makes sense.
Yeah, so now I think you have to do something because otherwise you have to start discarding relevant cards. I guess you can play the Snapcaster's instant speed, but then there is actually a Brainstorm in his graveyard still.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. That changes things.
Yeah, but if he's doing this in his turn, he's pondering.
Yeah.
So do you think Caleb's gonna Punishing Fire now, maybe?
In response to the ponder, likely, so you can't set up the
Yeah.
top.
First is returning the other one.
Makes sense, hides the information of the second one in his hand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really well done. And currently there's a 1 on top, so that's going to resolve unless...
Well, he has the mana, so it's pretty free to top here,
Yeah,
just in the hopes of finding it too.
does not, and that means his Ponder's going to shuffle for sure.
Yeah, it was just a Scalding turn. Finds another.
And another land. That's really bad. That's just going to get discarded.
It's interesting that Julian played his land, then went to his second main phase to Snapcaster.
Yeah.
This doesn't really matter that much. But he could have found a fetch land or something, which he might have rather have played.
All right, now he shows the second Punishing Fire. And will we finally see this Bloodbraid Elf? I mean,
I assume we have to, given Julian has no cards in his hand and the top cards of his library.
Unknown top, yeah. Also, there isn't really anything bad he can hit. I guess another Liliana would be bad, but...
No lightning bolt's not especially impressive, but...
Yeah.
Just getting the clock down seems fine.
Everything should be live, yeah, and also just an additional angle of attack.
Because Entreat is, fairly relevant. If Julian was able to find an Entreat here, getting 3 angels could definitely threaten the Liliana.
Yeah, I think actually that would just be the game, but we'll see. We'll see if he finds it just a one-off.
So it's Counterspell, Flooded Strand, and something.
Yeah, I've played a fair amount of this matchup from the Miracle side, and actually, when a lot of people in my local metagame were picking up Jund, I was just I had 3 additional Entreat the Angels in my sideboard. My plan would just to be play lands, survive, and eventually just draw an Entreat. And it actually worked out pretty well.
That seems reasonable. Just trying to grind them out, get to the point where you can play the most powerful spell.
Yeah, it was also good
point.
against Shardless, but other than that, the Entreats were not particularly good against anything. So it's
they're just not good or they're not good early. They're only good as win conditions later in the game, which is kind of awkward.
All right, so Counterspell is really bad here.
Yeah.
He's not going to get the opportunity to play that.
No.
And
it's
now,
kind of interesting that he drew that, because it is a good answer to the Punishing Fires if he was ever to find like another Snapcaster to be able to threaten Liliana or anything. And drawing one of the fetch lands seems kind of ideal.
Yeah, so what are the other 2 cards on top that he chose to draw a Counterspell?
There's Caracas and a fetch land, and then I think you just saw a second fetch land.
Why wouldn't he draw the fetch land then?
I don't know. Maybe he didn't think about Liliana? That would be my guess.
I guess. I mean, yeah.
So there's just no upside to drawing the Counterspell. So.
No, there's no way. Like with the Punishing Fires, there's no way Caleb's not going to plus.
Yeah.
All right, so draws a card. Okay.
Yeah, he could have cracked the Flooded Strand prior to pondering to get a fresh look.
Wait,
but I guess
did he not shuffle?
I assume he didn't. I guess he could have
randomly drew another top. He didn't shuffle.
Yeah,
wait, he didn't shuffle?
No.
There must be something really awesome on top then.
Well, it would still be land top, because you wouldn't see any new cards, right? I guess it wouldn't have been any new cards after his draw step. But he had already topped in. Oh no, it was the Ponder was the new card.
Yeah, I think he saw one new card, so it must have almost been the Entreat then.
No, because he wouldn't have seen any new cards with the Ponder, right? Because it would be top fetch land and Caracas.
Oh right, so I don't know.
I guess he gets the shuffle, like he gets to see 1 new card with the top, and then he gets to shuffle to see 3 new cards. So he does see more cards, and then he would have lost the top had he shuffled prior to pondering, which is obviously awkward if you're trying to win with Entreat, so you can't draw during their turn.
Yeah.
So I guess this makes sense, but
I still like cracking the strand before pondering there.
Yeah, you definitely. That seems a little bit more all in. Like I don't even know what you're hoping to draw at that point against this Liliana Ultimate. Because at that point, like Entreat isn't good enough, like Mentor's not good enough. Jace.
There wasn't explosives actually. That would have been a way to remove Liliana. Yeah, apparently.
He does.
So now he's going to lose, presumably, 3 lands and a counterbalance.
He definitely wants to keep the top. I could see like 4 lands counterbalance versus like 2 lands top or something like that. Because the counterbalance really isn't worth very much at this point. It's not good against the Blood Braid. It's not good against the Liliana.
No. Yeah, that makes sense. That's actually a pretty good split. And then you could also maybe mess with the colors a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't give him like blue mana with the top or something. Like, what if you go like plains? Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know you take that. Like, I would think it would have to be the top, but it's still just so awkward.
I think the only way Julian wins this is if he does have access to white mana. So if I'm Caleb, I make it island, counterbalance, and then top if he didn't draw with it, versus, plains, flooded strand, which is now volcanic tundra. He's forced to take the lands pile. With this, you could even just put the volcanic island in with the other non-white sources, and he's basically forced to take the white pile. Because Entreat and Mentor are his only ways to win from this position, in my opinion. Or, like a terminus into a lot of things.
Yeah. That was an interesting split. Like, this isn't that bad for Julian. I feel like he could have been in a worse position.
Well, I guess you're still going to get a new Liliana and discard the Scalding Tarn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Either
doing
way,
it
it's
this
four.
way, like it forces the counterbalance of the board, which ensures the resolving of the new Liliana.
That's fair.
I mean, so did drawing with top.
Oh yeah, there was a 1 on top, so I guess Liliana would resolve anyways. Yeah, this is bad news bears for Julian.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't really think of any way that Julian could come back from this. Though I thought the same thing last week when he was playing against Eldrazi with elves. But I think this is a worse position than he was in last week.
Was that the one where he had the Eldrazi Displacer teacher I know going?
No, that was I didn't see that. That didn't sound that fun either. It was like turn 1 or 2 Chalice for 2, and then like the following turn Inbringer out of Eldrazi, and Julian. It was pretty impressive.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. The game I was thinking of, he was completely locked out from attacking because of a Peacekeeper. But then like he found a way to return his Shaman of the Pack a couple times and still drain out his opponent. Like that was like the only way he could still win.
Through Displacer Sea Trial as well.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
Okay, so he's holding on. Like Caleb's really playing this out clinically. He's not taking any risk with that second Bloodbraid Elf.
Which I think is definitely right. Like Terminus would be like the only way that Julian could ever have a chance here.
Exactly, like Terminus into Council's Judgment, maybe. So
some really crazy draws, but there's not even any reason to give him the opportunity to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. He's also, when Decay is not live, your Bloodbraids are actually quite a bit worse.
That's true. Yeah, he doesn't even have much he would want to Bloodbraid into. Like all of his discard's bad as well.
Yeah, and if you hit a creature, then like Terminus is still annoying. Yeah. All right, that's the 4th Liliana, I think, or the 3rd maybe.
I think the 3rd, but this is just lethal on the Punishing Fires. I think there might have been a counterspell on top for Julian, so he will not die immediately, I guess. But I don't think it's going to matter.
No. There's still another Liliana on 6 plus a lethal creature plus Punishing Fires.
Yeah. It's a little bit much.
All right, so looks like we're going to the sideboards here.
All right, let's see what they got. So Click is not a bad answer to Liliana.
Yeah, that's true. That's pretty decent. Like you could think about Surgical for the Punishing Fires, but like you have to think Caleb's gonna take most of those out.
It's not like Punishing Fire is pretty solid against Jace. It's good against Click, Snapcaster if Caleb expects Julian to still have those cards, and it's just like a nice way to grind out the game.
I guess so, and also with Mentor, it's I guess more correct to keep it.
Yeah.
And he already has Lightning Bolts to cut. Okay.
Yeah, you got the bolts pretty deep.
So does that mean you go for the Surgical then, or are you not really afraid of the Punishing Fire anyway?
What can he cut?
Yeah, it looks like he's cutting Force of Will, which kind of makes sense. Like the only card you really want to Force of Will is Liliana, and everything else you really don't want to Force of Will.
Yeah, the matchup's just a card advantage battle, so 2 for 1 in yourself is not going to be ideal most of the time.
Yeah. I definitely think you should bring in those Vendilion Clicks, though.
Yeah, Click seems good. Flusterstorm seems like fine, I guess. It hits into Torah.
It's very situational.
Yeah, it seems a little bit narrow, which can be super awkward in these kind of matchups. Like if you draw Flusterstorm and then they just have like a bunch of Dark Confidants and Lilianas, you're definitely going to be pretty unhappy.
Yeah, I guess he's maybe hesitant on the clicks because of the Punishing Fires, because that card it matches up so poorly against it.
It really does, yeah. But Liliana is so good against you. But it doesn't even... That's true. You could take out Punishing Fire with the click. Which,
Yeah, if you get the exact right window,
Yeah.
that could work. I like cutting like one or two terminus because like Junt doesn't really tend to have like multiple creatures out very often.
Mhm.
And like you see that Caleb's respecting terminus most of the time.
Yeah, but Julian didn't necessarily see that, so we have that information. But
Right, I
Julian
suppose
just can't really
so.
work with that.
No,
But
that's true.
you're definitely right. But Julian just wouldn't actually be aware of that. I like him
Yeah.
taking out the Flusterstorm because it does not seem that great.
No, okay, so it's cutting one terminus. I like that a lot.
For 2 clicks, seems reasonable.
Because he also kind of got screwed last game by drawing so many terminuses.
Yeah. Though, like, you kind of need to be able to deal with Dark Confidant. I guess it's only
Yeah.
really Confidant. Like, Goyf is, like, not a horrible talk. And Bloodbreak's, like, not that scary, but...
No, but you have a lot of Snapcasters and Swords of Plowshares, which go a pretty long way.
That's true.
All right, so countertop on turn 2.
Definitely ideal.
Yeah. Caleb's hand is a little slow, but he's gonna... Oh, that's a great draw.
Well, it's... I guess you take, like, Snapcaster, because, like, the second counterbalance...
I think you take Click, probably. Although you have 2 Punishing Fires in hand. You don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't think you care about the click as much as, like, the card advantage that Snapcaster represents.
Yeah.
Maybe you take Counterbalance with the expectation of drawing an Abrupt Decay at some point soon.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think you actually take Counterbalance. There's arguments for taking any of these cards, but
yeah.
With double Punishing Fire in hand, like the bodies of these creatures don't really represent much, but they still have abilities. That's why they're being played.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to off these. It's still like a very good draw because he gets to curve out now.
Yeah, and he has the information.
Yeah, that too. Otherwise, he would just pass this turn, which would actually be pretty dangerous.
He took the click. That was the one I was thinking he was least likely to take. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So Julian's just going to slam Counterbalance. He gets the second basic island. It's interesting.
Just afraid of Wasteland, I guess.
Yeah, he does only have 2 lands. But with the Ponder being drawn, I probably would have gone for
and he has top.
Land.
So.
Yeah, okay, so let's see if there's a 2 on top.
Just
that's a Terminus. That's really bad. Worst possible draw, probably.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what goes away. The Snapcaster and the second Counterbalance.
The Ponder isn't the worst one to be left with.
No, that's actually probably the best one. Upkeep tops to not draw the Terminus. Makes a lot of sense.
It's a land drop. He ponders now. This is the one card Caleb doesn't know about, which
Yeah.
It's worth something, maybe.
And I was really hoping to find a 3, but he doesn't.
He does shuffle.
He shuffles that.
There's his 3, right? Or is that a 2 and a 1? I don't. 1 and a 2. Okay. I know you take 3 off of it for Dark Confidant. So
Yeah, you do.
somewhat confusing.
I've played a deck with Dark Confidant and hit run in it before.
I've gotten Fire Ice and Counterbalance, I think.
Casual take 8.
Yeah. Was that in like standard?
Yeah. It was a crazy deck. It played Confidant with 4 Greater Gargadon and 4 hit run. It was absolutely insane.
That does sound insane.
Alright, so Julian is gonna really pray for fetching into a 3-drop here.
Yeah, you definitely fetch because he shuffled with the Ponder, so he has no idea what the top cards are.
Yeah, I don't think you can just rely on a blind reveal here. This is too important. If he finds like a mentor here, it's just so good.
Yeah. It's got Snapcaster Swords and something.
And a land. So that's going to do a lot of work once again, it looks like. I guess you draw the Mage and Ponder again. Or do you just go for the fetch first?
Probably Snapcaster, get a creature down. Like, it's not actually going to do anything, but you might think that it might do something.
Yeah, like from his position, maybe just a -2 on Liliana, or he buys him some time.
Which is like, if he's -2ing Liliana and Julian gets to cast a Ponder, that's probably best case scenario for him.
Yeah.
Though, I think it looks like he's going to draw the land, which I think makes sense because you just play the land and ship the turn, and then like you're not actually afraid of Liliana because you don't have a hand at that point anyway.
Yeah, you're just afraid eventually it'll be ultimate, but you have some time. So that's fair.
Yeah, I think I like this better than what I said in the beginning.
Yeah. You still have the option to like play the Snapcaster, but I don't think there's an instant to flashback.
Not that I'm aware of.
I think he just has a ponder and that's it. There's a Bob, which
will get hit with the Snapcaster.
Yeah.
All right. So this isn't too horrible for Julian.
And also there's actually no Grove, so these Punishing Fires are not free to discard.
Yeah, that's true.
I think you still plus, though.
To get to 5 and to threaten ultimates.
Getting it to 5 is, like, pretty good, because then you can take a hit from the mage and still...
Yeah, but, like, losing the Punishing Fire...
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you have an answer to the Confidant, or to the Snapcaster already by holding on to the Punishing Fire, so you're not really worried about it killing your Liliana. And the only things that you know for Liliana are Snapcaster.
It's like, if he like, stacks it so that he can draw the mage and also end his turn with a 2 on top somehow. But then you still have an opportunity later on, yeah.
Not really good opportunities, though, if you can get a 2 on top. And Snapcaster down.
Yeah, but if he wants to end step it, then that's really tricky.
Mm-hmm. If he's, like, drawing it with the top, I see what you're saying, like, doing it this turn.
Yeah, he could stack it. He could stack it so that, like, if there was a second 2, he could have that on top temporarily, but then after his draw step, he would inevitably not have a 2 on top.
Well, he would draw with the top and then stack another.
Yeah. Wait, he drew the swords upstairs? That makes, like, no sense to me.
What was the third card? It was swords, Snapcaster, and what?
Land, I think. But, like, why wouldn't you draw the Snapcaster here?
Maybe to keep a 2 on top? I don't know.
Yeah,
doesn't really make sense.
I guess that could be the reason. And
I would definitely much rather have.
Oh, no, wait, now he's drawing? Yeah, I don't understand this play.
Neither.
So now he's just going to ponder, but there's no way he's going to shuffle away the top, so he's just going to keep it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is 2 a.m. in Europe, so maybe Julian is not in his optima forma.
Certainly possible.
There's no way you can shuffle that, right?
It was top blue card and was it Mentor? Was it the third card?
No, it wasn't.
Terminus Brainstorm top.
Oh, look, there's an Abrupt Decay. That's pretty decent.
Well,
okay.
There's our answer.
He did make a mistake. All right.
That makes things make way more sense.
Yeah. I mean, that would have... Now he just lost that source of plowshares for free.
Yeah. And, like, you had to blow the fetch land. It was definitely a super awkward sequence there.
Okay, gets another fetch land. I mean, Entreat is still going to do it here if he can find it.
Yeah.
So end of turn, we'll probably see the Abrupt Decay because it frees up the mana. No, we don't see it.
Interesting.
Oh, and he's actually just going to discard the Wasteland. That's, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Like, I guess he's really afraid of Mentor, which kind of makes sense.
Yeah, maybe that's the only way he sees himself losing this game.
Yeah.
Or like losing Liliana.
Actually, there's a lot of ways that he can lose, but that's like very threatening right now.
Yeah, in like the short term.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because what if Julian finds a Mentor on top right now? He just goes and a turn draw at the top. And he gets like a monk to protect from the edict.
Mm-hmm.
But now Liliana's on 6, so this is pretty scary. He really would like to see a council's judgment, but he doesn't. So,
Interesting that he topped with the planes.
yeah.
Like, I guess you don't really want to intrigue for 1, but he removed that option.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's not really any reason. All right, another chop here. Wow, that's just really not what he's looking for.
So brainstorm swords land. How do I move?
You might just fire off like a main phase brainstorm here. No? Okay. Alright, so now there's the opportunity for a Liliana ultimate. Ooh, there's a change of Mephistopheles. Interesting. He could actually play an Abrupt Decay first and then play the chains.
Yeah.
I might just ultimate the Liliana before doing that.
I could see wanting to plus the Liliana a second time just to keep it in play, because he's not really doing anything after ulting the Liliana.
No, but the problem is he doesn't want to discard either of those cards.
Yeah. So you probably have to play both.
Yeah, you play both of them or you ultimate first. Caleb's just still praying for no entreat, and there isn't one. He's actually going to fetch and probably draw a card with the top. Okay, counterspell is actually pretty decent, assuming you like float mana. Oh, actually, no, he's gonna move to second main, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no upside to playing the spell into the floating mana. I wonder if there's any thought to leaving the top. I guess not. So now you just definitely draw the top.
That's actually like pretty much bad in almost every scenario.
I can believe it. Seems reasonable.
Okay, so you could go like planes, counterbalance again. But you don't really care. Like, you want him to take the counterbalance because you have the answer for it.
Yeah.
So what if you go island, counterbalance? Then he still doesn't. He still takes the 4.
Yeah, he still takes the 4 lands. Maybe like island plains counterbalance.
Yeah, then he's definitely going to go for it.
Yeah, and then you abrupt decay counterbalance.
Yeah, you should give him one of the tapped islands then.
Maybe 3 islands? That's probably worse than island plains, right?
Yeah, actually three island counterbalance. I like that a lot.
Or like island tundra, because he has the wasteland. Island tundra counterbalance versus plains island.
Oh, he does have the wasteland in play. That's a very good point. Yeah, there are a lot of options here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he does.
And Julian doesn't know about this abrupt decay, although like it's not unreasonable for him to expect that it's there. There is a wear tear on top somewhere for this chains.
Julian brought in multiple wear tears.
I don't know if he has multiple, but he definitely has at least one.
He has 2. Because he has 1 in the graveyard that he discarded.
Oh, yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah, well, then he must have at least 2.
Yeah.
If he does it like this, then he's definitely going to take the 4 lands. Okay.
Either of these isn't especially bad for Caleb, because he either wastelands the tundra.
Yeah.
I like this one as well.
Yeah, this one is good. Actually, I think this one's the best.
Yeah, just leaving with the planes.
Yeah,
the planes cast his more relevant spells, like the Mentor, Entreat, stuff like that.
That is true, but he's gonna be with no blue mana.
Yeah, he has top.
He does have top, yeah.
Drawing the following turn.
Yeah, but I guess maybe 3 islands in the counterbalance would actually be the best.
I think you definitely go 2 basics, Tundra, counterbalance.
Yeah, just not sure which color.
Yeah.
Okay, actually he goes like this. Well,
It's interesting.
now you do cut him out of white, and you get to hang on to the Abrupt Decay. Oh, this is going to get counterspelled though.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's not wastelanding. I'm not sure about that.
That is odd.
It could just be a Jace now. Well, actually, he knows at the top.
He knows it's top.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Julian is not in the worst spot here. I think
No.
he could have been in the worst spot.
There is actually a white source as well.
Yeah. And another counterbalance, which isn't especially relevant against the Abrupt Decay, but of course.
If you play it right now, you shut off Deathrite Shaman, which is, I guess, relevant.
I wonder if there was any upside to Abrupt Decay in the top there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, that's a pretty overlooked play, actually. Like, it feels so bad because you, like, 1 for 2 yourself, but...
But, like, removing the option of top is such a big deal, especially in a spot like this.
Yeah, when both players are top decking.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's really good. But there's the Wear Tear plus the white source, so... Actually, this is gonna drag on for a bit longer.
Yeah. That's interesting, because I thought Caleb was, like, way ahead prior to ulting Liliana. And now it's, like, even. That's interesting.
Yeah, quite. Like, I mean, he could have definitely played it differently. Like, he could have just played both of his cards out and then, like, tried to go for 7 on Liliana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty reasonable line.
But even then, like, a Liliana on 1 is not... Like, it takes a long time before that's relevant. Ooh, that's a really good draw again.
Yeah.
So you don't need Brainstorm to draw good cards. You just draw them naturally.
You just have to have good cards in your deck.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah, if there's only good cards in the deck, you're bound to draw them. Ooh,
So I'm sure there are, like, Thoughtseize and, like, Hypnotox and stuff that you could have drawn as well.
Yeah, Punishing Fire.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a Brainstorm into... Yeah, this Confidence is going to draw an extra card.
Yeah. I assume he just keeps the top. Plays it.
Yeah, plays it out and then draws the Ponder next turn. Oh, wait, what's this?
Just wrong.
Wait, now he's going to...
I guess drawing the Tarn isn't the worst, then you just draw the top next turn, and then you look for answers.
I really don't like this.
Yeah, I think just drawing the top is pretty reasonable, but hitting the land drop's, like, nice, I guess.
Yeah, it's okay for Entreat, but ooh, there's another Liliana.
Mm-hmm.
But like now you just like you forced yourself not to shuffle in that Ponder because you didn't want to get rid of the top.
Yeah, because you know you don't want to shuffle that.
That's just like you made your Ponder into like a cycle, which is just
it's pretty weak.
Pretty weak. Okay, there's an Explosive and a Jace. Now we're talking quality here.
Yeah. Those are things that do things. Or if he just, like, bounces the Confidant next turn.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what else is coming out.
Yeah.
But, like, he can't really do anything right now.
No. Definitely doesn't want to shuffle away either of those, I would not think.
No.
He definitely doesn't want to shuffle away the top, so he can't, like, Explosives for 3 here.
Yeah, it's also pretty awkward. Like, there's no plateau, so if he wants to Explosive for 3, he's not getting a second white source.
That is awkward. Cuts himself off of Entreat.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just problematic for Julian. Like, best case scenario for him is that Caleb's going to draw, like, a Tarmogoyf and play it. And then he gets to, like... Get a 2 for 1. Well, there's a Tarmogoyf. Yeah. So that's something, I guess.
No, it's like Terminus or Bus.
He's gonna Explosives for 2 now.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Liliana's pretty awkward in that spot. Then even getting a Jace down, like, not gonna be able to pressure the Liliana at all.
Yeah, that tends to be pretty good against Liliana in most cases. Well, maybe actually holds the Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, I was gonna say with how patiently Caleb played the last game, like his board position's pretty good here. Doesn't seem
Yeah.
like it's necessary to play the Goy.
No, that's true. He's throwing 2 cards a turn. Oh, he does play it. Okay, well that's a window for Julian to maybe get back into this.
Yeah. Draws explosives. All right, this isn't that bad for Julian right now.
So let's see if Julian can survive 2 Liliana Ultimates in one game. That's probably what it's going to come down to here.
Yeah. His only answer to Liliana at 6 is like another explosives, or I guess he doesn't have another explosives, just
or the Council's Judgment.
Yeah, Council's Judgment.
Ooh, that's pretty good when you don't have any.
This draws have not been bad for Caleb.
Certainly not. Oh, well, look at that. That's 10 power out of nowhere.
Not a bad hit.
So now suddenly Jace the Mind Sculptor not looking so good anymore.
No, not in the slightest.
See, since the Divine Top is not overpowered, like Caleb's easily outdrawing him.
Yeah. Who needs to set up their draws?
Wait, there's an Entreat the Angels. It's not over yet.
Is Entreat even good enough here? He gets him 4.
Well, it's good enough if Caleb attacks first.
Yeah.
If he Juliana, ultimates right now, and it's really awkward.
Well, then Julian can just like he can float 6 mana and then just take the top.
He floats all his mana and then he just takes the top. Yeah, okay, that's reasonable.
That's an option, though. It's awkward.
Okay, so we're going to see 4 angels. And he has to like triple block the Goyf to play around that abrupt decay. Oh, actually, he's going to kill the chop. Interesting.
I like it. I would have liked that play earlier, too. But
yeah.
This is going to go pretty well for Julian, though. Like,
well, I mean, he trades 2 angels for those 2 creatures.
Yeah.
And
just one, right?
Oh, just 1. Yeah, you're right. So he has 3 remaining, and then Liliana's gonna ultimate.
Yeah, Caleb's out of stuff though. So even if it's like plans versus 3 angels, like it's not especially bad for Julian. Yeah,
actually, Julian's looking really good now.
Yeah.
And that's what Entreat. That's why I was like boarding in 3 extra Entreats versus John. Like that's what a card does.
Yeah, it can definitely catch you up from an awkward spot.
Yeah, from almost any position, almost. Like you have to be really far behind for Entreat not to win you the game.
I assume it has to be like 2 angels versus like 1 angel, a couple lands, or 2 angels, a couple lands versus 1 angel. Like 1 extra land or something.
Well, he's going to keep the 1 angel because there's a Jace second from the top.
He shuffled.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, with the Tarn when he was looking for the.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then he keeps the 2 angels. Yeah, I like that.
No, yeah, this is just a 2-turn clock.
It's a 2-turn clock, yeah. Is there any Maelstrom pulses?
There's a Jace. He did shuffle, though. I'm pretty sure.
And that's it. That's going to be the 3rd game. Suddenly, Angels.
I'm not sure that Caleb was supposed to lose that, or I'm not sure Caleb was supposed to lose that game. It seemed like he was in such a good spot prior to the first Liliana Ultimate.
Yeah, he was, but like, even at that point, like at any point, Entreat were just won.
Sure.
Also, if Julian would have seen it earlier, I think that's why Caleb was ultimating also the first Liliana, because with 6 lands out, you could just lose out of nowhere.
Yeah, very true.
So Containment Priest doesn't actually help. So he has counter spells in his sideboard, which actually that's not even that bad. Like counter spell is not a great card in this matchup.
Yeah, especially on the draw. Can't get their like Goyfs and combo and whatnot.
Yeah, if you're not countering him.
I'm still not a huge fan of Flusterstorm.
No, I mean,
Like
it's
it's
really,
only him that you really care
yeah,
about.
it's only good in your opening hand
Yeah.
for like hitting Thoughtseize and him, but drawing it later is just going to be very useless. I mean, it might just be like what you need, I guess, because he doesn't have like he would love to have Spell Pierce. That would be much
Yeah,
better.
Spell Pierce great against like Liliana and Library and whatnot.
Yeah. Wait, why is there a Containment Priest being moved into the deck?
Yeah, threaten Liliana. Yes. It doesn't do anything. I don't think.
Ash Code Bear coming out.
Yeah. All right, so the Fluster Storms are back out, which I like.
Okay, I like this.
Also, the Containers. Maybe it's just trolling us.
Yeah, probably.
That's certainly possible.
This is actually like a very crucial game now for this series.
What are the other decks for this series?
Are you like?
Okay.
Okay.
We don't know. You don't know.
You don't know, but like if you just think about what they could have, like very likely Caleb's. Well, actually, we already know most of Caleb's decks from the semifinals.
I assume Julian has elves, which you don't really want to run.
Yeah.
Ooh,
That's a really awkward hand for Caleb there. He's gonna have to go to 5.
Yeah, he's on the draw. Like maybe he could create, or he's on the play. Maybe if like, you feel like you're really lucky and turn 2 Confidant's good enough, you can keep that on the draw.
Yeah, we know Caleb has miracles as well because that's what he played in the semifinals.
Yeah, that hand is awkward.
So there's the danger here that we're going to get another Miracles Mirror if Julian picks up this game.
I'd be down to watch a Miracles Mirror between these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. Okay, so now Counterspell's looking great. Like there hasn't been a turn 2 play out of Jund, and now he can actually stop the Liliana, which Caleb will have to play. There's no way he can just sit back here.
Maybe he could wait if he thinks Julian might go like turn 3 Counterbalance Pass. But it does not look like that's going to happen.
Yeah, but even then, there could be a 3 on top already.
Yeah, there's not very many things though.
This is going to get counterspelled, and then it does cost him his fetch land, which makes his brainstorm a lot worse. But yeah, if you're not being Liliana as the Miracles player, then you're pretty happy. Oh, that's
not a bad throw.
Really good. Yeah, there's no way you just jam Mentor, especially now you've drawn this. And oh, that's rough. Caleb is kind of drawing dead here. I mean, he has to like get like a Bloodbraid Elf into something great.
So he just jams the Mentor.
Yeah. And
I wonder if you're punishing fire here. Oh, you definitely punishing fire because
you have to.
Yeah.
Surprised Julian actually played the Mentor there.
He gets to brainstorm the. Oh, I guess he already had it too. I was gonna say he could brainstorm the wear and tear to the top, but
did he know? I guess he knew about that too already.
Yeah, from topping the prior.
And he figures if the Mentor gets decayed, then his counterbalance is surviving.
Yeah, it's not the worst for him.
Yeah. So okay. So then I understand why he just played it, and now he has to upkeep top to keep that. Oh no, he has brainstorm. I guess he wants to brainstorm anyways. Do we know what the other card on top is?
I have no idea.
All right, so Caleb knows that Julian drew the counterbalance, so he's going to fire off this punishing fire.
Yeah.
And that'll be a brainstorm.
I'm still not sure I'm a huge fan of not topping during the upkeep there.
Yeah.
Just keeping the 2 there, maybe hitting a land draw.
Yeah, I would have done that too.
Click counterbalance on top just to like hit all your bases. Cover all your bases. I don't know what that saying is.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Like, we don't know if he doesn't know if Caleb has Engineer Plague. We know that he didn't bring it in, but it's like a pretty okay-ish answer to Mentor. It's definitely not ideal, but
He's running the Death Right into the Wear and Tear.
yeah. Yeah, at this point, it's pretty much just game over.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but he was aware of the Wear and Tear.
He was aware of it, yeah.
All right.
And that's going to be it. All right. Julian takes down the first game.
I definitely thought Caleb was winning that second game.
Yeah, that was quite a miracle comeback, you could say.
Yeah. All right. So, do you think Caleb, does Julian have to stick with miracles right now?
Yeah, he has to stay, and Caleb gets to choose what he wants out of his remaining 2 decks.
I wonder if he just runs.
He just runs the mirror.
Yeah. Was the other deck for Caleb 12 post? Who had 12 post?
Well, that's going to be a surprise. Who has that? There may or may not be a 12 post deck in one of these players' lineups.